Bonsoir. I am Marie-Monique Steckel, and I made an executive decision that all the people who were waiting outside could just be standing. So, you know, sometimes you are sort of victim of your success. Catherine sent a nice email saying, do come, do come, do come. She didn't think that we would be sold out. So when people arrived, they said, but I got an email from Catherine. I must come in. So anyway, whoever came and wanted to be in is in. And I'm sure that the Christmas tree is making everybody late today. So we are delighted that you all came to hear Catherine about how to be a French woman and how to be sexy. And if you saw the poster in our elevator when you came in and you didn't have your les yeux dans les poches or your eyes in your pocket, you saw that the picture of Catherine is absolutely magnificent and that she is the epitome of the French woman. So she is a fashion designer, a writer. This is her first book. We're delighted that we are the premiere in New York of her book, and she will be in a conversation with Christine Ingersoll, who is the fashion and entertainment director of Hearst International, which means that she knows a great deal about cultures, differences of culture. Christine has been traveling the world, and she knows an enormous amount about all the various countries of the world. So the seductive style of French women, we can all learn something from the French women. We think that we are the best, but we're not. As we all know, you're not. We're not. But the arrogance of French is so amazing. Even though when I talk to people, they say, these days the French are better. By better, they mean a little bit better, right? So anyway. So there will be a question answer, so keep all your answers in your mind while they're talking, and there will be also a book signing. And I just want to remind you that on December 11, we have what we call a series about the art of sex and seduction. And the 11th of December, we have Esther Perel, who is an amazing TED talker. She's a sex therapist, and she will talk about relationships, romance, and infidelities. Again, we can all learn something from Esther Perel. So I wish you a wonderful evening, and I hope you will all stay for a drink. We have some drinks afterwards, and Catherine Malandrino will answer all your questions. Catherine and Kristen, please. You are... They are sitting.
I want to thank all my friends because I recognize a lot of you tonight. Thank you for your support, for your love. And really thank you to support the French style. Because tonight what we are going to talk about is everything I've been learning for my 20 years in New York, and everything I want to share, and I had shared with American women. Then thank you for your support. Tonight, it's a very special night too for me, because it's the first time that I will be having this dialogue with my friend Kristen Ingersoll. And Kristen is, for me, a very special woman because she's one of my really dear American friends. And she has a great eye to see what we have in common and what we have that make us so different. Then I hope you will appreciate the talk and you will find yourself in a lot of this observation.
Oh, so nice to see everyone here tonight, and thank you so much for including me for this very special occasion. I have to say, I read the book and it made me laugh, it made me cry a little bit. But there's so many things in the book that inspire me and are inspiring me now. And Catherine, you always inspire me, and I know you've inspired so many people. So It's really great that you're all here tonight. So I was very honored when Catherine asked me to join her for this. And I put together some questions so that we can get the ball rolling and you can see what this is all about. First of all, what inspired you to write? You've been designing for all these years, and what made you want to write une femme française?
Then, I realized that after 20 years in America, I realized I have a lot to share with all of you. First, because I love words. I love words that are a little bit different. For example, in my everyday life, I don't use amazing, great, fabulous, fantastic, but I heard more like charming, elongated, graceful, seductive, and I want really to play with words. Then I saw that I would be able to write something that will be with a special voice, a special tone. Second, it's because I felt that I have quite an amazing journey so far. You have to remember, if you read the book or if you heard about me, I have been for now 20 years in States, and especially in New York, and I had quite an amazing journey, because really I started from home as having dreams, and have the chance to meet on my way amazing people that help me to achieve a lot of different goals. And I don't say that my story is just about success. It has been about challenges, difficulty, yet success. But everything that I've been living through is quite of a special journey for a French woman.
Well, yes, because I don't want to give it all away, but in your book you talk about living in the mountains and wanting to get out of that and to go to New York or to Paris first, right? Mm-hmm. The bigger cities for your creativity. So, but going back to the writing, did you keep a journal along the way? I mean, for years, or when do you write? Hemingway, for example.
I didn't plan at any time to write a book, to tell you the truth. It's more like I had a different moment in my life, and especially when I sold the company, I had a moment where I was wondering what will be happening next. And I needed to step back. I needed to think about what was fabulous in my life and what was really challenging and I need to improve on. And for that, I took few moments to travel the world. And for me, traveling the world was especially going back to France, because this is where I feel that I'm the most inspired and rooted. And I think roots are very important. Mine are in France still. And I felt like from there, I had a better view from what I did in New York. And I had a better view of what I achieved, what I missed, what we had in common, and what I learned. Then it was a good time to say, maybe right now you are not anymore designing, but maybe it's a great moment to think about what you achieved so far and that you share already your 20 years of experience in New York.
Oh, yes. But I guess what I wanted to ask you, when you were discovering your writing side, you were stepping back after not designing anymore. Did you have a time during the day that you would write? And also, besides that, what about the difference between the French woman and the American woman? What made you decide that as the subject matter for this book?
First, I didn't have really a time frame for that, but I felt that when I was in Paris, I had the distance to really write about New York. Mm. And when I was in New York, I had a very clear view of what I wanted to talk about as a Parisian woman. Mm. Then I think when you have this both identity, you have something that is different, that sets you apart, because you always have a clear vision of the other side. And this is why today, sometimes I meet people, they find me, I am in New York, and they find me very Parisian, where I am in New York. And when I get to Paris, they tell me, oh, you are so American. And I look at myself, it's like, well, I've been able to really capture both sides. And this is really about time, about experience, about all the journey. Then I realized that really I had enough now to share. I don't mean I have, it's not the end of the road at all, but it's at least a first step that has been done for me. And I feel what I have to share already, and that for me it's an important thing, is like we have a very different point of view about success. You know, for American, I realize that success has to go through money. It's their main goal. It's really an everyday goal. It's how are they going to put things together to get money. And for them, this is success. For us, when you first think as French people for success, you think about a successful life. And a successful life, it's about harmony. It's a type of a composition. We are a little more, I don't want to say sophisticated, but a little more complicated, maybe, because money is not the only thing that makes us happy. This is just one side of it. You need money, you need love, you need children, you need accomplishment, you need little joy of every day. You need so many things that together make you an accomplished, fulfilled woman. And I feel this difference of goals was such a difference of lifestyle.
Well, on lifestyle, you talk about getting up every morning and sitting on your couch and looking out at the river, and there's the beauty in starting your day, and that inspires you for the rest of your day, and how you will carry yourself, what you'll wear, what perfume you choose, that kind of thing. How is that important as a French woman, let's say? I find that maybe not the same as an American woman, if that makes sense.
Well, I will say that French people and women, and I think men too, we try to find little pleasure in little things. We love like a little coffee in the morning. We love a little tour. We love a little promenade, un petit ami. Everything that is little for us doesn't mean small, mean important. It's mean important for joy. Then we know how to give full appreciation of that. Then every day when I'm waking up and I have the chance to have the sun and feel healthy, already I have to say, you are an happy person. Whatever happens around, you will deal with that, but you wake up as an happy person, and you should be thankful. And I think this little detail make French people more maybe appreciative of their everyday life. Because even if we have more money, more success, less success, we know that there is something bigger than that. That is this little pleasure that are going to make us happy people.
I love that, because there was a section in your book about the woman that lived to 122 years old. I love that. Jean Clement.
Oui, Jeanne
right.
Clement. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now,
and she was having a lot of trouble in her life.
She had a lot of hardships.
So much hardship, and at the same time, she managed. She even drink a little glass of wine every day.
And 2 cigarettes a day.
And 2 cigarettes a day, and she had been living up to 122 years old. And she, despite everything that happened to her, she felt like she had a fulfilled life.
Full life.
Full life, yes.
So I think this is something that is important to discuss, because that's the difference. These little things, these little subtleties in life, where you enjoy, right? The special things like waking up with the sun and your little cup of coffee in a tasse, not in a paper cup. That's what you talk about. That's another thing. No paper plates on picnics.
No plastic fork, no. Because you want to enjoy every little detail. You want to make it like a little romance with the world. And this is where people have some type of a magic. It's like they try to put everything with a little more romance. They create this seduction life. It could be for anybody. That means it's extremely accessible. And this is why I want to share that, because it's not about money, it's not about success, it's nothing to do with that. It's just a way to handle life and to look at it. And it's to look at it with seductive eye. How do you make your every day a better day? And I think these French people have a type of a secret for that. And I think it's great that everybody can bring it in their own daily life, because it just makes life look better.
It's true. I mean, even I lost my grandmother recently, and it was very hard to go through that. And I thought of you with your tips in your book, and I came home after Thanksgiving, and I was by myself, and I thought, you know what Catherine would say, go and buy some flowers. And I did that, and I bought some very nice lilies. They smell good, the fleur de lis, and some colorful bouquets as well. And those kinds of things really changed my outlook, just starting the day. And also, I got a cough recently. And I didn't feel good about that. And I thought, you know what? If you're cheerful, as you say in your book, with people, you really see that people are cheerful back. And I think that's also very important. These little subtleties in life that make every day special. And whether it's making dinner with a boyfriend, you talk about that, going grocery shopping, or maybe if you're ordering takeout, put the food in some dishes and light a candle, and
porcelain plate,
yes,
light candle,
and don't have a
put
television
nice
on, that kind of thing. So because you were saying that a lot of the Americans they order takeout maybe 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week,
yes.
And
you know, they forget about the real pleasure of life.
And watch television.
A lot of pleasure of life are all in the details.
Yes.
And in America, because you are caught in a different type of race, and I was caught in that too at a point.
With your work.
Of course, because I was like in this race, or you have to make it even more, even better.
How did you juggle that?
It's never enough.
Yeah. How did you juggle that?
Never enough. Well, I was lucky that I was French. I was lucky because I say yes.
But you had your baby when Oscar was born. You were in the middle of your career.
Yes,
you had the collections going on.
I had a lot to struggle with, but I think like all American women do, because we all want to be like accomplished women. We want to have kids. We want to have a career.
Look sexy.
We want to look sexy. We have to have a love story. We want really to be really rich and accomplished. Then we have a lot to play with. And unfortunately, American life sometimes is just bringing you one aspect, success. Then when you hear that, you at a point you unbalance, because you see, well, is it just success that will bring me happiness? And my answer was no, absolutely not. Success, yes, of course you want to have some good accomplishment. It's different. Yes, and when I speak about tear of joy, even in the book, it was about accomplishment. It's not about having the biggest money, or being, or being the best. But it was just the feeling of accomplishment. This was very important. And making sure that you build your life with harmony, knowing that you have love surrounding you, that you have children, that you have family, that you have level of friendship, that you have able to handle life with harmony. And I think this is what, as French people, I think we grew up with. And that maybe makes a difference, because when we come to America, we sometimes feel a little shake up with our own value, because we feel that here, all this doesn't matter. That the only thing that matters is the success that you will do in your business with your money. And it's a big mistake, because our money is bigger than that. Money and success is one part of it. And I, as a French woman, and as many French people tonight that are sharing these ideas, I know that we have to share that with Americans. The same way I learned a lot from Americans, I want that Americans learn from us this joie de vivre.
Let's talk about the clothes, your clothes. I mean, you love obviously, I know getting dressed in the morning. You have like the lingerie that you start with, and
I was
by
just
the way,
looking at
yeah,
the American flag
the flag.
moment.
Yeah, so
That was a
on
great
that,
moment.
okay, then
Yes.
we'll go back to the lingerie. But with all the shows that you've done and the women that you've dressed, your message, like the flag dress, is what to the American woman, to maybe to the French woman, to the whole world. What is it? How?
Well, you know, through the flag dress, at the beginning, I didn't have a message as clear as it has,
Has become.
become. No. Because for me, it was really at a time that it was before September 11, first.
A few days before September 11th, actually.
Well, in fact, the dress came out just a few weeks before September 11. It was in store like at the end of August, and
Yes.
September 11 was a few weeks away. But it was designed a year ago. And for me, it was my homage to America. Because, you know, I dreamed about America. I dreamed about like open land and the free spirit and women that were strong and were able to achieve their goal. Then I had all these dreams about America. And I arrived in an America that was a little, for me, how can I say, contradictory, because it was the America of Bush. And at this time, it was not exactly fitting with what I had in mind. Then I wanted to speak about an America of strong woman, an America that was more about femininity, about giving power and confidence to women, that was giving at the same time the idea of open land, the one I was dreaming of. You know, this idea of big open land and freedom. You know, I was born with this, and I was raised with this movie, Easy Rider, in my mind. And, you know, it nourished my dream too about freedom and liberty. Then I really was totally into this flag. It's something too that for French people, it's very special because we are not always having our flag, our tricolor flag with us, like Americans do, you know. In France, we just show our flag for July 14, sometimes.
Very
you know,
subtle.
it's
Yes.
very subtle because we don't see, you know, we're speaking about different values that are more about justice and equality, and this flag is not extremely meaningful. Even if we are French, we keep it more subtle. Then when I came to America and I saw all this flag everywhere, I really realized that when you're this flag, you were part of. You were like a part of this great community I wanted to be part of. I was especially honored that I was so much embraced by American. This is recent, by the way.
I just found this today.
Yeah, this is it. That means this dress that I designed more than almost 15 years ago, more than 15 years ago, it's still on
in July
press,
of this year. Yeah.
Yes, always.
Again.
Yes, but it was certainly a starting point that I didn't even realize how strong it came into my career. And this dress, as you know, has become the symbol of freedom, femininity, American women that are confident and that achieve their goal. And the one that really was a symbol of it was recently Meryl Streep in the Democrat conference when she really wore it. And with this my dress speaking about America
and a woman president.
On a woman president, I couldn't expect a bigger reward.
No, incredible. And thinking of this symbol, you know, of the woman, like the Statue of Liberty and the flag, you mentioned that there are certain French women that represent France. You know, you could go back to Joan of Arc, also
Marianne.
Yes.
But, you know, I don't feel it's just about French women. Liberty Statue has a bigger message than just French women. And I feel all of us, you know, we have this inside us, this idea about audacity, being brave, being like accomplished, being about justice, about femininity. And I think the symbol of the Statue of Liberty is certainly very dear to me, but it's inside of each of us that are really the women of this new generation that want to be accomplished and independent.
Yes, and try new things.
Yes.
dare to try new things.
But
yes.
but at the same time, what is funny is like, in America, we have this symbol of liberty that is huge, an XXL format. And in France, it's just like a very small liberty statue that sometimes is on a keychain. And already it shows a lot about the difference that we are marketing our value. French keeps them very close to art, where Americans need to put them loud.
We were talking about different actresses that inspire you, and for the Statue of Liberty, would there be a French actress or model that you see, or it could be a politician, that would be like the Statue of Liberty today? You had compared in your book Pharrell to Uncle Sam. Who would be the French woman besides yourself, by the way, because we featured you
because I feel that we all have in ourselves, especially women today, and what's going on in the world with women. I think we're really entering, I don't want to say a feminist side, because I don't consider myself as a feminist. However, maybe I'm a feminine feminist, in a way that I don't want to compromise with femininity. However, I think it's time really to have rights that are aligned, that mean with men. Then it's not just about liberty statue, it's more about the world that needs this switch now. Yes. And I think each of us, we have our role to play. And myself as maybe a designer and maybe a voice as a French woman, I want to make sure that, there is a message about equality, about difference that
Let's
are
talk about
respected.
that. Like right now, what's happened recently in the media with Harvey Weinstein, for example, and the men, not all men, obviously, we love the men, but a situation like that where women maybe are put in a very difficult situation, where they feel, how should I say, taken advantage of.
I think it's a very interesting topic because, of course, harassment is unacceptable.
Correct.
And it's humiliating. However, it's time to speak about seduction, because I don't want that men do a big mix in around what's going on and that they don't dare anymore with women. Because, I think it's quite scary that our society will go at the opposite. I think seduction, every woman, French or American, are dreaming about seduction and dreaming about being seduced by men that will offer them flowers, speak about love, send them attention, having manners,
Or wear something seductive.
And this is extremely important as a designer. Why I will have my role if it's not to do clothes to seduce? I always saw my role as really helping women to be even more seductive.
Yes.
Then, of course, seducing is extremely important, and has nothing to do with harassment. It's even, something that we have to encourage for men, because we want them to be even more receptive. And I was, speaking about the difference between American men and French men, I felt even when I came to America, I remember 20 years ago, at some moment I felt very uncomfortable and sometimes even offended, because I felt that the American men were not daring to look at me in my eyes. They were never inviting
that in your book.
me.
Yes.
They
didn't even look.
Yes, they were not even looking at me, and I heard later on that it was because they were afraid of sexual harassment. And it's something that I never experienced in France. Because in France, men look at women and give a great smile.
Much better, I have to agree.
And we are very happy to be acknowledged. We are very happy of that. We feel really that it's empowering that women look at us, because we do our best to look at our best, Then it's not just to be ignored because of sexual harassment possibility, That means here we have to be very careful, because it's a contrary, Of course, harassment is to be condemned. But on the other side, seduction is to be encouraged. And I want to make sure that, maybe American men take a little bit of this inspiration, Because I realized, as a French woman, sometime in a cafe in Paris, I already have the chance, and I don't know why, that a man come and speak with me, or offer me champagne, or speak about whatever, something nice that make me feel good. It never happened to me in New York. And I'm the same, huh? And I would love that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. But it never happened to me.
I love that. But by the way, I wrote to Catherine yesterday. I said, who are we inviting? Can we invite some men as well, or is it only women? And she wrote back, we need the men, with like 10 exclamations.
I say, how come? I don't even understand. When I see table with all women, the woman lunch
women's
in
night
America.
Out. Yes.
In New York, this powerful woman lunch, I have no clue about it. No. Because for me, if we don't have men, I don't know what we are doing here. That means, what are we going to talk about? Then, all our relationship is really because we love each other and we want to really exchange. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see in any way that there is any aggression or aggravation. It's more about being seductive because, of course, you want to be loved. There is nothing wrong about that. And I think this is where maybe European men has a little more of this sensibility. Is it because they are Latinos, or maybe they come from older generation that have been raised like that? But they are not afraid to send flowers, to send a little note, to really faire la cour, And it's something that, unfortunately, but I never had the chance to experience yet with an American man.
Which I read this part in your book, and I had to laugh a little bit, but this is good. So, creating desire enhances the erotic experience. This is what you wrote. It's all about longing. He longs to touch you and see you. If you are always nude while brushing your teeth or having coffee, dressing and undressing in front of him, you sacrifice the power of it. Complete nudity is a woman's precious gift, her last resort ammunition. Be mindful of when to use it.
Yes, because I feel our relationship has become quite vulgar. Because,
yes.
We just give away everything very quickly. I don't know if it's all about because of social media, because of our
movies,
fast speed,
yes.
because of the movie. There's many reasons. However, I feel there is nothing better than the long seduction process. And I think, in this moment where everything, the big topic is about harassment, it's good to think that seduction is about a long-lasting process. And the longer it is, the better it is.
Okay. I
learned. You have to remember
no.
that Kristen is American. Then, sometimes she tried to catch up on certain things.
No, because I was catching up on a lot of things that you were doing over the years in New York. Like going out at night to certain places and discovering, the underground world. Now, I don't want to say that, but that's also something where you dare to try something different. This is what you suggest to do. I thought, okay, yes. I'm American. I'm going to try that.
Yes. Well, I think we have the chance that today there is nothing wrong about. I don't know. I think my microphone stopped. It's back. Okay. I feel that. Personally, this is the way I see life. It's about experiencing. It's about trembling, feeling, changing, being wrong, being right, but making sure that I'm living. And I think this is what French women are maybe a little more open to do. Because we don't have like a mind that are settled in a way that we go by the book. There is no book for French women. We're trying every day different things, and we try to make it work, and we experience enough that we can grow from that. then yes, you know, for me, especially as a fashion designer, but even maybe as a character, I just, you know, I have to experience. And it doesn't mean that you participate, but it means that you want to know what is this. Because you grow from that. You just a richer person, and you're not afraid. Then it build you even to go above your fear.
Okay, let's talk about fear, though, because you were afraid a number of times in your life. A fear of heights.
Well, I have few fears, like everybody, but especially when you go through challenges in your life, you feel that, are you going to survive the challenges? And you have to have a special character to survive the challenges and reinvent yourself. And I think that one of the best ways to do that is to face your fear. And one of my fear was really to be afraid of the height. And then this is why I decided that I have to jump from a plane. Because then I could really, certainly, if I was able, if I was able to survive from that, and maybe, you know, I will be able to survive a lot of my fear. Then for me, it's really pushing your boundaries. And I feel maybe, here again, French women are more open to be in front of their boundaries and to surprise themselves. Where American women, they play more, again, maybe with the book and go by the book with rules, and they know where they have to stop because it becomes too dangerous. I feel today it's audacity that helps you to to grow and to really reinvent yourself.
Where do you see yourself going next? I mean, you've written a book now. Do you want to write another book? Do you want to go back to designing?
Well, the good thing is
do you have a secret project?
I have a lot of envy. This is the best thing, and this is why maybe it's a secret of keeping young, is really keeping the envy. And I'm really like having so much envy, not only on designing, but not only of writing. Sorry? Envie, I don't
So
know
much
what
desire. You have a lot of desire.
Ah, sorry. Then Marie-Monique is correcting me because she's our dictionary here. Thank you, Marie-Monique. Then it's not about envie, sorry, it's about desire. And as long as you keep the desire, you keep on the move, you keep young, you keep active, then yes, I have a lot of desire, but as a French woman, I'm mysterious and I don't want to reveal them.
Okay. What about some of your inspirations, some of the women that inspired you? You've inspired a lot of women with your clothes. Who inspired you for your collections?
Well, I don't know if you, at the same time, I'm sure you're looking at the slideshow. And this slideshow, you know, you will see somehow a contrast in the slideshow. Because the first part is in black and white and showing women style like Brigitte Bardot or Catherine Deneuve, Anouk Aimée. And then you'll see other women like Garance Doré, Inès de la Fressange, Carla Bruni, Léa Seydoux, from a new generation, an inspiring woman, French woman, because I feel that this myth of French elegance is still there and still very alive. It's about having this little French touch in everything that makes you feel like a bubble in the world, and that you have a lightness. Despite of everything happen, you keep light and you keep seductive. And you see this type of Vanessa Paradis and Laudoyon and Marion Cotillard that carry, and again, Charlotte Gainsbourg, this woman that carry Isabella Gianni, a type Carole Bouquet, Inès de la Fressange, Jane Perkin. Then there's many of them that have this effortless way to handle life. And they all live their own personal journey. Huh? That means there is nothing to do with the perfect picture that they try to convey in America. Because in America, you know, many times the women that are the target are just a perfect picture. That means they have married, they have money, they have children, they have success, everything is perfect, this is our icon. In France, it's not like that. Our icons are totally about imperfection. And we embrace them. And we say this is real life. Because real life is not about being perfect, but it's about really feeling good with your imperfection. Then I feel that already this is a huge difference. The second thing is, like, as a French woman, I came to New York 20 years ago. Then, of course, from the trench coat, the little black dress, the white shirt, and all the base of a French wardrobe has evolved a lot for me. And this is why you will see jackets that are covered of nail. Because here I've been totally influenced by the rap, by the people I met, by the R&B music, but so many things, but the American dream, but the flag. That means at the end, and for the last 20 years, my collection was quite embracing both culture. And this is what creates for me a very special style, a very special portrait as a French designer in America.
I wanted to just touch on politics for a second. We didn't talk about that. You know, with what happened with Clinton, Bill Clinton, and Monica Lewinsky, now impeachment, right? With Mitterrand, you talk about him in your book. I had no idea that he had a mistress. That is another cultural difference between us now, and
Yes. Well, it looked like, you know, what for American is like a shock, for French people has been part of their culture. That means we didn't mix up that a man could be a very powerful and great president and having a personal life that was a mysterious life that is handled by himself, that was covered. But yes, President Mitterrand used to have 2 wives at l'Élysée and 2 children. And, you know, the world didn't really know about it. Certainly the journalists and the people close to him knew about it, but we keep it part of French lifestyle. As long as the politics was right, nobody really talked about. The only day that we saw that, and it was open to the world, was the day of his death, because both woman and child were here together at the morning. And I felt that this show exactly the difference between both cultures. That means in France, we have a lot of respect for the individual. And we think that people can do whatever they want as long as they don't bother the other. It's admitted. And somehow, it doesn't ruin a career because he used to have a mistress or another wife of children. Where in America, it can totally change the landscape of politics. And he was the best example. Clinton was the best example.
No, I mean, I find it remarkable. I won't go into it too much, but that took major front and center as impeachment as opposed to maybe what we're experiencing now.
Well, I think it was not the only one. After we had the experience with François Hollande that was not married, and we experienced 3 different first women, politics, you know, and the guy was just the president of the French Republic. And today we have the chance to have Emmanuel Macron. We have a wife that is almost twice older than he is. And everybody finding it very interesting. And we find it that the couple are really one of the best couples to be able to bring France to a different level. That means I think we are very open-minded in terms of our relationship. And we don't set boundaries the same way Americans do.
Like for age, maybe for age. I mean, that's huge. We don't see that so much in our culture, that the woman is older than the man.
Well, I think it looked like for American, you know, it started with Demi Moore and
Ashton Kutcher.
Yes, and Ashton Kutcher at this time. And for us, it was like years and years ago because we started this process, I don't know, Edith Piaf and his young lovers that was half his age. And and Marguerite Duras and Jan, there was like twice the difference of age. And this was, I'm speaking about in the 50s and 40s.
There's a long list you have in
Then
here.
I have a very long list of...
I was impressed.
Yes, and you know, and was never like so shocking. The same way, you know, you feel that in America having this difference was was so shocking, where for men it was totally admitted.
I love it. It gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
What else? I have to say, you have to read the book because there's just lists of restaurants to go to, movies, old movies to see.
Well, yes.
Places to travel. Mm-hmm. I mean, you went to Brazil and to China by yourself. I can't believe that.
Well, I think as a French woman, maybe we are daring and audacious, no?
That is daring.
Then, you know, and maybe because I was really always very encouraged to discover the world and to grow from that, then yes, I had to do this travel, and I have the best souvenir of it. I detail all of them in the book, because when you just arrive in China by yourself and you are in Beijing, in the opium house by yourself, and no man, I can tell you, have any manners in a way to handle a French woman, then it was quite an experience, yes. But you know, even for speaking about American men, sometimes I'm still very surprised that they don't even hold the doors when they see a woman. You know, it's little detail, and it's not about money of power or anything like that, but they have been losing or never had all these manners. It's shocking for French women.
Do we have any questions?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not, well, my friend is in a different generation than I am. I am older, she's younger. Okay, we'll leave it at that. But you were talking about different things such as a picnic and taking paper. I don't do paper, I do glass, and everyone I know, but I think it's a generation thing. I think as we're older, and a lot of the things that you were talking about, I think we're very close in age. I think for us, it is about etiquette. It is about our femininity, never losing it. But I also think that this generation, the young women in the 20s, they don't want the doors. A lot of the women don't want their doors open. I want my door open for me. I don't care. I don't feel helpless. You know, I feel, like you said, it's a respect thing.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
and this is why I have a young son that is 20. And I try to make sure that he acts differently. And that, you know, it doesn't matter if he loves basketball and music and go out by night and is always surfing on internet, whatever he does, you know. I feel a woman have to stay a woman and still stay feminine, you know. And I agree that is one of the dangers of the society when we speak about equality, because sometimes they mix both. The young generation think because they are equal, they have to forget all the manners. And I think equality still have to make sure that there is difference. That means there's nothing to do with equality and education.
My son's 21, and what I had him do is, this is when the plaza, they used to have the etiquette classes. At 5, he was doing American and continental etiquette, because it's 2 different ways. Most people don't realize there's a fork turned over and the fork with the prongs up. So there is a difference. And that's just simple things. Like, you know, for me, I think that that's absolutely fabulous. I can't wait to read your book. I think it's, I'm like, yay. You know, but I do think, though, we have to teach, like, as you're teaching your son, my son knows that romance, there's a difference between, you say seduction, I say romance, to where there's a little putting the woman there and doing a Kim Kardashian kind of thing, you know. And I think for us as an American woman, I will say this, the moment we had the Kardashians with all the reality and the videos, took all those kids down here. You know, they don't have the respect that we had. Like, ask them about courtship. My nieces are in their 20s. I had to teach them that courtship is when a man literally comes and picks you up, gives you flowers, gives you candy. They're all about this group dating. Like, what is that? Okay, so again, I think it's also a generation thing. I could sit here on the microphone for hours.
Thank you so much for coming tonight, and it's very inspiring to hear you talk about your experience here in the US. And I was having a look at your pictures up there, and I just love all these actresses, but I do have one question for you, because I feel like in terms of femininity and celebration of femininity, the US may have an edge over France in one particular area, is that the women that celebrated in the US are much more diverse. When I look at all these American women up there and all the French ones, I don't see any diversity in the French ones at all. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so much easier and celebrated here as opposed in France, where every single one is pure 100 French, but no diversity?
Well, I think it's a very good point, and that this is what I love from America, is the diversity. I think French, we have maybe an history that is more aristocratic about really French people, where the society is more closed, where American has been more diverse and have been way more rich. And this is what I think has to be bring to America, is not the diversity that they have, but maybe just a little touch of elegance that are missing of. But personally, in America, I love the diversity. And I really encourage friends to have the same level of diversity. That's why I feel, it's about exchanging and a lot to learn from each other. And it's not like French have any supremacy on it. It's different. It's like French have a lot to learn from American women too. And in the way they have this easiness, easygoing, mixity that make it so rich. And to speak about mixity, I was very personally adamant to make sure that in all my casting, I could represent always a diverse woman that have an all skin tone, all type of style, and not just the aristocratic French woman that is too limiting and doesn't answer to what the world is for the future. Then thank you to bring the point. But for me, there's a difference between diversity and elegance. And this is where maybe French, through their history and their authenticity, had something to bring. It's like we have somehow a knowledge that have been through generation about how to be more at your best, looking at your best, being the most elegant, being sure that what you are doing is to emphasize on your strengths and to forgive your weakness. And this is something that we can share with American women, and they can learn from us too.
Josephine Baker.
Yes.
There are many places in
Yes.
France, in
Yes.
Paris, named after Josephine Baker from the 1930s. And we can't forget that Paris was a great place of inspiration for a lot of artists from all around the world, starting in the 20s, late 20s, 30s, and
it was
continued.
always an inspiration because, there was so much to take from. There is so much like authenticity about knowledge, craftsmanship. Yes. Then, of course, from artists, it's a source of inspiration. Even today, I was telling you, I'm one of the biggest source of inspiration for all artists are the Paris free market. Exactly. Because yes. When you go to Paris and you go to the free market, you find all our French history from the 18th century to today, and you see, our authentic, our creative have been our French heritage. Then I don't know if you have more questions or if you are just
ready for something to drink.
Oh, ready for some French rosé. Thank you.